As Israel's war against Hamas continues, the Biden administration has joined most other countries in abandoning Israel. I mean, yesterday, former President Donald Trump criticized President Biden's handling of the situation and suggested Jewish voters in America should not vote for President Biden or any other Democratic candidates. Well, as the left continues to drive the Biden administration's policies further away from Israel, will we see what was once a solid Democrat vote bloc reconsider? Joining me now to talk about this is Matthew Faraci. He is the founder and president of Inspire Buzz and Gideon300, also a member of the Jewish community. Matthew, welcome back to Washington Watch.
Hi, Tony. How are you?
I'm doing well. A question for you. Yesterday, former President Trump said that the Biden administration has totally abandoned Israel. And he said, any Jewish person who votes for a Democrat or votes for Biden should have their head examined. And of course, the media has reacted, gone off the deep end on that. What's your reaction?
Well, it's interesting, Tony, because before the Holocaust, there were people I had even talked to, relatives of mine, who had told me that they had a really hard time believing, people that had been German citizens for a long time, they had a really hard time believing the rhetoric that they were hearing, much like a lot of the rhetoric that we are starting to hear, unfortunately, on the left, and we're starting to hear some on the right as well. That's very concerning. And so they had a hard time accepting that things were going the way that they're going. And I think likewise here in America, and thank God for this, as Jews, we've had a wonderful, run here in America. America has been a welcoming place. It's included us as part of the society. If you think about it, Tony, so much of the music and entertainment and, Jews are part of the fabric of America, part of the fundamental fabric of America. And so because of that, I think that probably a lot of Jews feel very comfortable and are unused to this sort of new reality where you have the rise of Jew hatred, and therefore, they're kind of on default. And now those assumptions are being challenged, right?
Is this a moment in which we could see maybe a seismic shift? Is this a turning point in the relationship politically that the Jewish community has had with the Democratic Party?
I mean, I'm going to oversimplify here, Tony, just for the sake of time. So allow me, if you will, to oversimplify. You can kind of look at the Jewish community as what we would call the religious community, the Orthodox community. And then you have other parts of the Jewish community. They're also like the conservative Jewish community also, and then there are secular Jews who are Jewish, but they don't really in any way practice Judaism. And in the religious community, you find that, there's people readily acknowledge that, look, this is an objective fact. Donald Trump was the best president on the issue of Israel in recent memory. That's an objective fact. And so I think what's happening is that the people in the secular Jewish community are starting to see the Hamas protests and what the foreign policy of the United States right now and all these awful things that are developing, and really checking what those assumptions are. Now, the last poll we saw was in February, and that poll showed that a majority of Jews in New York are planning to vote for Trump over Biden. That's significant because New York has, of course, the biggest Jewish population, and there's a big mix of, there's the Jewish community is very mixed there. There's secular Jewish community, there's religious Jewish community. So you're seeing already, Tony, some of the movement from those folks that are more in the secular orientation moving towards the right, just out of recognition of where things are on Israel. And I'm going to get a poll together to answer this question, particularly what you said, because I want to try to track this and see if we can figure out where the movement is.
Well, let me throw another question in here, Matthew, if I might. With the rise of anti-Semitism globally, and of course the curtain has been pulled back even here in the United States after October the 7th, is the Jewish community, and I know it, as you described, it's diverse, but Are they rethinking and seeking a closer relationship, maybe with the evangelical community that has been steadfast, for the most part, in defending the Jewish community?
Absolutely. And Tony, absolutely. You know, one of the things that I think almost every Jew is recognizing is evangelical Christians, no question, are the best friends that we have ever had. And that is because you love God. And you know, I sometimes say, Tony, that there's no such, I don't have a good phrase for this yet, but there's no such thing as anti-Semitism. It's anti-Godism. In other words, if you hate the Jewish people, you're rebelling against God, right? And if God had picked another group and said, these are going to be my people, the world would hate them.
Well,
and
I see
so,
it. I see it as the world hating
how do you see it? Yeah.
is hating my big brother, because you guys came before us, and it is, you know, we have something much in common, and our scripture speaks very clearly that as there is a focus on the Jewish community, the church comes next, and we're already seeing it.